Hello everyone, thank you for clicking on another one of my videos. I am Screen Scene Guru coming at you with a full TV show review. This is on the new Hulu series Paradise. This dropped back in January, and I believe it finished up at the beginning of February. So now we are in March. I'm catching up on this. If you guys have not heard about this show, I definitely highly recommend it. For those of you that are into conspiracy theories, government secrets, stuff like that. This is a fantastic show to watch right now. Going into a bit of details, it is starring Sterling K. Brown from This Is Us. A lot of you guys might recognize the president in this show, played by James Marsden, who was, of course, our early Cyclops in the early 2000s X-Men. He's played in many other roles, but a lot of us might remember him from that and the Sonic films. Um, also, Julianne Nicholson plays Sinatra. I thought she had a really outstanding performance. So just a few key characters in the show to go into. I do have a bit of information pulled up. So going into that, we've got episode 1, which was dropped on January 26th. It was called Wildcat is Down. Um, It's just another day in paradise until Xavier Collins discovers one of the world's most powerful individuals has been viciously murdered. Xavier analyzing the crime scene while recalling his complex relationship with the victim. So I really like this episode, guys. This first one really started off strong, got us to get to know what the show is going to be about. It really challenged the ideas of what modern television can be. I, for one, was agreeing with a lot of people doing reviews and stuff about this weeks ago, that it increases your intelligence as you watch it. So really fun stuff to see. So moving on into episode 2, we've got Sinatra, of course. This is Agent Xavier Collins is interrogated by Samantha Rabon, codenamed Sinatra, as she begins to reassure her community as she reflects on how she got to the paradise. So I thought this was a really enlightening episode. They showed her trauma and how she got to get together with this therapist that played a really key role in the show as well. Let me pull up real quick. The therapist's name is Sasha Karani. Um, Really outstanding role. She had a few shows on Netflix, I believe, about relationships. So she's an upstanding, really cool new actress to the scene. We've also got Chrissy Mashal as Nicole Robinson. I really liked her from For All Mankind. For those of you that have watched that show on Apple. But going back into the episodes, we've got episode 3, the architect of social well-being. So isolated, Xavier seeks answers on his own and cautiously turns to Dr. Gabriella Torbini, while Billy and Jane feel the pressure from Robinson's investigation. So I thought this was funny. They go into the special agents that were tasked with protecting the president, how they were goofing off and fooling around, playing with the Wii. I didn't think the Wii was that popular to be putting in a modern day show in 2025, but I thought it was very fascinating. I personally had owned a Wii at one point, and I remember them being very fun. So it's a cool flashback to the technology of the past. So I guess this was kind of set in a sort of a dystopian global event that happened, let's say 10, 15 years in our past, because they're showing vintage technology, if you will. Like Apple Watch, early versions of Apple Watches, like the fidget, the fitness watches. They used those to scan everything in the complex, which I thought was really funny. Moving on from episode 3, we've got episode 4, which is Agent Billy Pace. Now, I thought this episode was kind of interesting because they've done tropes like this before. If you guys have watched the Punisher series or any of these kind of military-esque shows, they always show the backstory of one of the special agents, and he was a character you didn't think, or a character you formerly thought you knew, that they introduced a new backstory, that he was a heel or a villain. So I thought this episode was very interesting. Um, the citizens of Paradise celebrate the annual carnival. Xavier and Billy's divide deepens into their investigations. And then on to episode 5. In the places of crowded kings, Xavier faces the consequences of his investigation, forcing him to consider how to proceed. Meanwhile, Cal's family history and his last days are examined. So again, really great acting from James Marsden. I thought he was fantastic as the just president at the time, to be, taking on this whole global affairs of this conflict. And they do go into it in, I believe, episodes 7 and 8, the last 2 episodes, what actually is happening. I don't want to go into too many spoilers for people that haven't watched the show. I want them to figure it out for themselves. But they do mention, global event, nuclear bombs going off, etc. And then, of course, this underground structure in Colorado that's built to withstand the devastations and allow a certain group to survive. We've heard about these stories before, but I just think it's a new, interesting modern take on interesting sci-fi story. So moving on to episode 6, we've got You Asked for Miracles. Xavier and Robinson execute their plans as Sinatra strives to maintain Paradise's current state. So this is really when it heats up, guys. They start to put their plans in action to get the city back, take the city back from the billionaires and the people that are running lies, because of course they get a hold of the tablet, and the secrets are divulged about the exploratory team of scientists that went outside of the base to check for radiation levels and check for signs of life. Of course, we got to see a lot of flashbacks. This was mostly, I'd say 75% of the show was flashbacks, but they were really good, well-sequenced flashbacks, so I'm happy for that. Also, just a lot more use of Billy's character, it seems like, where Billy was then killed off in the show, which I felt like they built up his character to kill him off in a lackluster way. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about that. But moving on to episode 7, The Day, Sinatra and Xavier confront the past, returning to the harrowing day that brought them to paradise. Really action-packed. I thought it was fascinating that this year, I think it was this year, we've gotten more content about the White House, with Captain America Brave New World blowing up, and then now this show. Fascinating what they're trying to tell us in our pop culture media. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that. But yeah, very interesting. Like I said, episode 6 and 7 came out February 18th and 25th, so right at the end of February. And then the last episode, the most recent episode 8, dropped The Man Who Kept the Secrets on March 4th. So if you guys have been watching up to date, it just ended this first week of March. Now we're on the 20th, but if you guys are catching up on TV shows that just wrapped up, this is one of them. The bio being, Xavier and Robinson race to find the President Bradford's murderer before it's too late. Now, this aspect of it, I am going to go into spoilers here, warning guys. The way they solved the murder, I thought was very a television show, where they had all these grand ideas and concepts for the show that were working perfectly. It was like a symphony of things we were getting. And then when they tried to introduce the murderer, like the plot for the murderer, I felt like there was too many holes in the story. Let me know what you guys' thoughts on that. I don't want to go delve too much into it, but let's just say the librarian. I'll leave it at that. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on the show. Be sure to be liking the video. Make sure to comment down below what your thoughts are. Please share the video if you guys want to, and follow me on Threads and on Instagram for future updates on television, movies, comics, games, all kinds of things that I'm getting into. Thanks again for clicking on one of my videos. And until next time, guys. Bye-bye. Alrighty. Ooh.